You are listening to Super Sound Showcase, sponsored by Culture Fix on FM 93.5 The Burg and WMBG AM 740. We are Williamsburg's radio station. I'm your host, Robert Hodge, and today we have a very special show representing the Virginia Arts Festival and the Virginia International Tattoo. We are joined by the Rhythm Blue Ensemble from the United States Air Force Heritage Band. And my goodness, these men are famous all over the country for the music that they make, and this particular ensemble will be performing at the Virginia International Tattoo, which will be happening the 25th, 26th, 27th, and 28th of this month at Norfolk Scope. And if you have never been part of Tattoo, you're going to be excited when you understand that all military bands from all over the world will be coming, and they'll be honoring the contribution of women in the military this year. So, gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you here to the radio.
Thanks for having us.
And we are talking right now with Second Lieutenant David Regner and Senior Airman John Lloyd and Staff Sergeant Ryan Persad. So who wants to start? Tell me about this ensemble you have.
So one of the ensembles that we're going to have perform for that tattoo is called Rhythm Blue, and it's our jazz ensemble that's involved in our band. The other ensemble is Full Spectrum, and that's our popular music rock band.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize there was a rock band.
There is a rock band.
And which one of you is in that rock band?
I am.
You?
Yeah.
Tell me about it. How is that different from what you do with the jazz ensemble?
So the rock band, we usually during the year we play for high schools, do high school recruiting tours, and play popular music that the kids love. And then during the summer months when it's warmer, we go outside and play a 90-minute show of tunes that everyone loves from any age.
Mm-hmm. And John, what is your specialty?
I'm a trombone player in the jazz band. I'm also music director for Rhythm Blue,
the
group that we'll be playing today. We honor America's music, jazz, which is we play anything from early swing music. We honor the music of Glenn Miller, of course, who was famous Army Major. Army Air Corps Major, excuse me.
Do you know the Glenn Miller Band still does 300 performances a year?
Yes, absolutely. I have friends who have performed in that band. Yeah. They have a wonderful product.
I opened a show for them last year, and it was amazing to hear them live. And they still sound just like the records. It blows my mind.
Yeah.
They're great. All right, so, David, tell me your position is you're the flight commander.
That's correct.
Okay, I assume that doesn't mean you're like in charge of the tour arrangements on planes. What does that mean exactly? What do you have to do?
Well, to put it in the simplest terms, it just means that I'm the second in command of this unit of the Heritage of America Band. That's right.
Okay, and you are a musician yourself, even though you're primarily in a different capacity.
Yes, I studied music as well. I studied saxophone in my undergrad, and then I studied conducting at Northwestern.
Wow, that's great. And which of you wants to tell me just a synopsis of how music chose you? How did it become your life? Anybody got a funny story about that?
Well, I have a funny story. Okay. So it started for me when I was 5, and my grandfather was really enthusiastic about the violin. And taught literally all of his grandchildren how to play the violin. And I was like the one who hated the violin. I absolutely hated it. And so when 4th grade came around, I had the opportunity to get a new instrument, and I chose saxophone, and I fell in love with it. But my mom being my mom and my dad being my dad, they're just like, all right, you're going to do both.
Oh, my.
And I did that all the way through high school, and I had to make a choice, and the rest is history.
Well, let me encourage you in one way. If you can go back to both, if you could learn to play the saxophone and the violin at the same time, I can make you famous on the same day.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm. If you can do this and that, I will make you famous.
Sounds good. I'll let you know. I'll work on it.
Okay. Now, have either of you been a part of the tattoo before?
I've actually been a part of Tattoo twice before.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about that experience. What's it like?
It's a great experience. We have a chance to interact with not only other countries, we interact with our Marine Corps, our Army, the Navy bands. It's a great, just a nice opportunity that we don't normally get. And then we have an opportunity to meet with bands of the other countries. And it's just every year it's different. It's my 3rd one, and so I can't wait to interact.
Does the audience just go crazy over this?
Oh, they do. And performers too. And after someone plays, they come back, walk back down backstage, and sometimes you just hear a loud applause because the other band did a great job.
That's fantastic. And the sense of camaraderie from bands all over the world, it must be spectacular. They had a press conference in February that I attended, And they had actually gone to the expense of flying in a lady from France who is one of the first female conductors. And there's another one, actually, I think that's involved with Fort Eustis, if I remember correctly. So for the first time, there'll be some female conductors, and they'll be honoring females in the military. You may have heard on your show with Robert Hodge, I had Diane Carlson Evans, who was a Vietnam nurse, who really was the founder or co-founder of the Vietnam Women's Memorial. And I'll tell you, it's going to be just a fantastic operation. I talked to the director actually at that press conference, who told me that about 500 man hours goes into producing each minute of the tattoo. Can you imagine?
Wow.
But there's that kind of precision. So it's an extraordinary experience. And if you want to go and find tickets to that, the Virginia Arts Festival website certainly will give you the opportunity to buy tickets for any of those 4 performances. And you don't want to miss this. Gentlemen, what kind of music are we going to hear today? What do you have in mind?
Well, today we're going to hear from Rhythm Blue, the jazz ensemble. We'll be playing 3 standards. The first is Pennies from Heaven, a nice arrangement by trombonist J.J. Johnson. It's one of my favorites.
Great.
We'll also be playing a nice ballad entitled Body and Soul. That's going to feature our saxophonist, Michael Ferranti. And then we'll be finishing up with a song everybody loves everywhere we go. So much so that we even get a little sick of playing it sometimes. But it's a great tune made famous by Sonny Rollins. It's St. Thomas.
Oh yeah, it's a great tune.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be something we definitely look forward to. If you're just joining us, we are speaking with 3 representatives of the 6 here total with us today from Rhythm Blue. They are from the United States Air Force Heritage Band, and at some point you guys will be back as part of the Summer Breeze concert series, right?
That's correct.
Usually come up for that. And that'll be nice. So you'll have multiple opportunities to hear them throughout the year. But how many concerts do you gentlemen do? Do you do in a year? It's pretty rigorous, isn't it?
Oh, wow. Absolutely. I think it ranges from year to year. This year's been particularly busy, but I think we do anywhere from probably between 60 and 80 concerts per year, or at least that you're out on the road and things like that. But I mean, across all the groups, I mean, we have probably well over 300 or more at least.
Well, I know there's frequent travel. I work with one of your comrades. I work with Jason Cale once in a while, and he's a friend of mine. And I know that whenever I call Jason, he could be anywhere. He's like, I'm in Maryland. I'm in a hotel. We're playing. Or I'm in South Carolina. And I'm like, oh, good heavens. So I never know where he's going to be. So is it easy to integrate this with your family lives?
Oh, wow.
It's a challenge for everyone. Everyone has their own pets, and they might have a wife or a husband and kids, and any different situation. It is a challenge, I'd say, for everyone. But as you do it more and more, you kind of understand it a little better and how to take care of it.
And what's also unique, especially about the VIT, is the fact that since our air responsibility is so large, going from Maine all the way to South Carolina, it's actually fairly seldom that we find ourselves playing for the local community, which is why we value this experience so much and our opportunity to give back to the community
locally. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm curious too. I've had this thought in my head. Periodically there'll be advertisement within the community in a civilian publication, saying that there are positions in a military band. And I've often wondered, as somebody who knows that I probably don't have the discipline that it would take to go in and be in the Air Force, does being a musician in the Air Force make it easier for someone who really wouldn't be a good soldier? I mean, and do you have to have the soldier qualifications to really make it as a musician in the military?
Do you want to take that?
Sure, absolutely. Talking about musicians in the military, I mean, by and large, the vast majority of us are professional musicians. We come in as people who have worked on the outside as a civilian professional musician. We took an audition, much like you would for a professional orchestra or anything like that. And the military provides just a wonderful career opportunity for professional musicians. We all go through basic combat training or officer training for our officer counterparts. So we do have all the same qualifications to be in the military that a non-musician would. But by and large, we're all music school educated.
But once you're in that music program, is there a real risk of deployment all of a sudden that maybe
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, both me and Sergeant Prasad over here have both deployed before.
Wow.
I just got back from a deployment last fall. I deployed as part of a rock group. We played in 5 different countries for local audiences. We partnered with the State Department, played music for local
but
folks.
It's still within the music spectrum.
Absolutely.
You're not really out there fighting a war.
Exactly. We have a support mission where we go around and support troops and local communities. Yeah,
that's great. I've actually been involved with the USO a little bit myself, so it's beautiful. And how is the experience of being in a combat zone and entertaining troops that really you're the only entertainment they've got? I assume you might as well be the best stars in the world.
Absolutely.
I'll say I don't think you can ever really describe the feeling of when you go to a FOB, a forward operating base in Afghanistan, where these men and women are risking their lives on a daily basis, and are able to provide some sort of relief for them, and for them to come up to you afterwards and tell you how much it meant to them. You just can't put a price or any sort of. It's hard to speak about it because words can't.
Can imagine. Yeah. Wow. Well, my hat's off to you guys, because I commend you for your service as well as for your fine musicianship. And I'm so happy to hear you play. I can't wait for the music today. This is going to be an exciting moment, and thank you for being here on Super Sound Showcase.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back after these messages. All right, you are listening to Super Sound Showcase with Robert Hodge. We are sponsored by Culture Fix on FM 93.5 The Burg and WMBG AM 740. And now we get to hear the music of Rhythm in Blue. They are from the United States Air Force Heritage Band. Let's hear it, guys.
1, 2, 3.
we definitely should have an applause track. That was wonderful, gentlemen. And Pennies from Heaven, of course, a great standard from the American Songbook. Tell us, is that the kind of music that you're actually involved with the Virginia Tattoo? Are you going to be playing music like that, or other kinds of things?
We're going to be playing 2 selections for the Virginia Tattoo, and one of them is going to be a big band number.
Oh, great!
Yeah, so jazz is definitely going to be part of our repertoire.
Oh, thank goodness, because you guys are so good at it. And you know, I have to share this with you because I had an interesting thought while I was jamming out with you. I thought, you know, I hope that our Air Force as a whole is as prepared to protect the country as you are to musically represent it, because this is brilliant, and I love that you're all such great musicians. What's next?
So the next piece we're going to be performing is a really beautiful ballad called "Body and Soul." It was made popular in the 1930s, but it's pretty timeless because there's even a recent recording of Tony Bennett and Amy Winehouse a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So it's one of those really beautiful tunes.
Yeah,
that
they also
loves.
included in a show called Black and Blue, which I was mentored by a blues legend named Linda Hopkins. And Linda was on stage with Ruth Brown, actually, who sang this song in the Broadway production of Black and Blue. So I know it backwards. Cool. I saw it many times. So
awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait. That's a great choice. Let's hear it. Body and Soul. Bravo. I like it. Very slick. And, it sounds like if you're just tuning in and we are listening to Rhythm and Blue from the United States Air Force Heritage Band, I think you probably thought you were in a swanky New York club all of a sudden. That was really nice. And, I love watching you guys play because you're all lost in the jazz element of what you're doing, especially you. You like are transported. Do you realize this, John? You look like you leave your body a little bit when you're doing some of those things. It's nice. Tell me, right? Tell me, David, do you find that as you perform around the country, because your territory is from Maine to South Carolina?
That's
right?
correct, from Maine to South Carolina.
So there are other similar ensembles that do other regions, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. But in your experience, when people come to your concerts, are they hardcore jazz people that are attracted to the idea that you're a jazz ensemble? Or do people just come and learn maybe that there's many ways of doing a song that they're used to hearing? Because when you do those variations and you go off, it's just brilliant.
I think it's a little combination of both. People who are not yet exposed to the jazz genre, but on the other hand, there are a lot of people where jazz was the popular music of their age, sure. And so when they come, they're truly enthusiastic about it.
Right. Now, where do these arrangements come from?
These arrangements in particular, I'm not exactly sure.
Actually, I can say a couple words about that.
Yeah, sure. If you want to get close to the mic there,
sure,
that'd be great.
So most of the arrangements we're playing today are just standards. We're actually a little short on rehearsal, if I'm quite honest. And a lot of the stuff is just us improvising using the vocabulary that we already have. But we have lots of great writers in the band. We play a lot of great music from within the band. We just did a tour with the jazz band a couple months ago. That was all original music. We had a couple of arrangements to fill in, but all things that were original ideas from band members.
Interestingly enough, I suspected there was a lot of improvisation going, but because there's some charts laying around, I thought, well, maybe this is all charted out. But that's good. That's good that it all comes from your heart. Because, I learned a long time ago from a brilliant singer named Patti LaBelle. Told me one time, she said, if it comes from your heart, it's never wrong. And I believe that.
Yeah.
It's gotten me out of a lot of boxes that I put myself into. I'm free now because I can just play from my heart, and it's always fine.
Absolutely, yeah. That's
so what's
beautiful.
the next song?
Yeah. Next, we're going to play a little standard made pretty famous by Sonny Rollins, especially. This is St. Thomas.
All right. You'll recognize this tune. Everybody knows this one.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
I would say that song is actually very aptly named. Actually, I closed my eyes for a moment. I've been to St. Thomas a number of times, and I kind of felt I felt like I was back there again. That was kind of fun. I was even seeing some visions from the past. It was cool. So, you know, I can't say enough about you guys coming here to be on Super Sound. I'm sure I speak for my audience, not only that we love your music, but your service is important. It's, you know, very important to the country. I myself have always told service people when I have the chance to talk to you guys that all my life I've lived a crazy life of a musician, and I know that unless other people make the choice to really join the military and make that the career that they choose, I don't have that option. So I really appreciate what you guys do musically and militarily. It's important, and it's a wonderful opportunity to meet you. If you've enjoyed their music and you'd like to see these guys perform, they will be part of the Virginia International Tattoo, which is also a part of the Virginia Arts Festival, and they just had their opening weekend. It was a marvelous celebration, and it's close to 100 performances in less than 8 weeks. They just are incredible with the music that they put together. If you've never been to Tattoo, it is a breathtaking experience, and you will definitely want to be there to see these gentlemen perform and to support them and to thank them for being part of Super Sound Showcase, sponsored by Culture Fix on FM 93.5 The Burg and WMBG AM 740. I'm your host, Robert Hodge, and thank you as always for tuning in, because without our audience, there would be no point in having these talented musicians come in and out of this studio as they do. So thanks so much, and I'll see you next week. We're going back to the music that you love.